Ladies and gentlemen, it'll come as absolutely no surprise to anyone that Bennett is in fact one of the best units in Genshin Impact. I 100% agree with that sentiment, and I want to make sure to get that point across before I proceed to trash the guy in the remainder of the video. In terms of investment to return, he is arguably the single best character in the game, because you can just put any old trash on him for artifacts, and as long as you just use a high base attack weapon, you're still going to get amazing value out of Bennett's kit. But even if you look at absolutely like raw value that he adds to an account, he is still definitely one of the top 10 greatest units, if not even top 5, and some people would even go so far as to say he's the #1 best unit in Genshin Impact, like I think Jamie does, for example. So don't get it twisted, I think Bennett is an absolutely great unit, but I gotta be honest, I personally just cannot stand the guy. I don't like his visual design, I don't like the way he plays, and he reminds me way too much of myself. So I am absolutely ecstatic that with this next patch, I'll finally be able to replace him. Let me explain. Now, in the weeks leading up to Xilonen's release, people have compared Kazuha a lot to this new character. And at first glance it might make sense, because assuming that you use the Viridescent set on Kazuha and the Cinder City set on Xilonen, both of them shred elemental resistance and both of them increase elemental damage. However, if you look at the rest of what their kits provide, they couldn't be more different. Kazuha is a grouper, Xilonen is a healer, so in terms of usage cases, they are entirely different when you look at it that way. If you need grouping in a team, or if you want to have grouping, you're not going to use Xilonen, at least not for that purpose, and if you want to have healing in your team, you're not going to use Kazuha for that purpose. In my opinion, there are other units that are a much closer comparison to Xilonen than Kazuha is, the prime example being Bennett. Now yes, Bennett doesn't shred elemental resistances and he doesn't increase elemental damage, although at C6 he does provide a small pyro damage bonus. Instead, the way Bennett adds value to your account is by boosting your on-field character's attack. But at the end of the day, what does shredding resistance and boosting elemental damage really amount to? It amounts to boosting the damage that your team deals, which is really the same exact thing that Bennett does, albeit in different ways. And like Xilonen, Bennett is a unit who not only boosts the damage that your team does, but he also provides single target healing, just like the new character. So I think in terms of team building, there are a lot more instances where you want to decide between Bennett and Xilonen as compared to Xilonen versus Kazuha. Both of them boost the damage of your team by a great amount, and both of them are able to provide sustain through healing. And that sort of role consolidation is immensely valuable in Genshin Impact, which is one of the reasons why Bennett has remained such a strong character since 1.0 basically, although funnily enough people thought he wasn't very good at launch. Now the usage cases for Xilonen and Bennett will not be 100% identical. There are some teams where Bennett is more useful and there are some teams where Xilonen is more useful. Bennett is able to increase the damage of physical characters, dendro characters, as well as anemo characters, which is something that Xilonen can't do. However, Xilonen doesn't buff attack like Bennett does, she buffs elemental damage, which means that even HP or defense scaling units, for example, can benefit from that. In addition, with Bennett you only buff the on-field character, whereas the resistance shred in Xilonen's kit means that even off-field party members will be able to deal more damage with her in the party. Still, there are going to be a lot of teams where you could really go with either unit, Bennett and Xilonen, and both of them will add amazing value. The reason why I personally prefer Xilonen even in those teams, however, is because on one hand there is no circle impact that we have to deal with, and on the other hand, I mean, let's be honest, she's way more attractive. Now don't get me wrong, Bennett's been sitting on my bench for the longest time now, I haven't used him in a while. However, I've still been able to 36-star the Abyss, courtesy of Arena for the most part. But with Xilonen coming up, I can have my quote-unquote Bennett back in my teams and it's going to be absolutely amazing. What's more, Xilonen is going to be an excellent partner for Furina because of the healing, and there's also no 70% HP margin like with Bennett, which makes her a bit of a better fit even. I think Xilonen and Furina are going to be hands down the single strongest duo core going forward. It's going to be absolutely crazy. So yeah, Xilonen is coming out very soon. I can barely contain my excitement, nor my bodily I'm going to be testing her in a lot of teams, and I'm going to make a Xilonen video because I'm super excited, like I said. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I just wanted to get this off my chest because I think this is really cause to celebrate. The fact that we can finally bench Bennett if we want to. And yeah, that's everything for this video. Have a good one, everybody. See you next time.